Hello, and congratulations for finding this video. So what I want to touch on today is a couple things that I get from time to time. People ask me is how often should I be posting on social media? So it's kind of the question that everyone's wondering, different platforms, how often. So that's what we're going to cover in this video today is just how often and should we be posting on which platform. So stay tuned. Welcome back. Anthony Hendrickson coming to you here today. And what I want to do is talk about different social media platforms and just how often we're supposed to be posting on these platforms. So we have, a dozen different platforms that we all kind of work on. I'd recommend starting with one and then kind of moving on to different platforms. But that's the main thing that I found with my business is how often do I post and where? Everything's got these different rules and different guidelines that they want you to follow. So I'm going to walk you through on this video a couple different platforms that I'm using and exactly how many times I'm posting on, what times, when, and why. The first platform that I want to actually focus on is Facebook. Facebook is kind of one of the first platforms that I found myself on. It seems like the go-to that everyone really starts on. Everyone has a Facebook account. So let's start there. Things that I've noticed is you should be posting on Facebook, and depending on, there's your profile, there's your page. There's a lot more organic reach on your personal profile. So that's kind of the best way to go with your Facebook fan page or whatever you want to call it. That's where Facebook wants to implement the advertising and things like that. So kind of a pay to play, less organic. I've seen and I've heard quite a few people say that if they post once a day is when they get the most reach. By the time they start posting that second time for the day, they say that it drops almost by 50%. So, and that's with pages right around 10,000 people or less. So that second time is really what gets you. So you might want to stick to maybe just doing one post a day there is what I've found. So the max that I've seen is 3 times a day, kind of getting that iffy point too. But as a rule of thumb on Facebook, I would probably say you want to post at least 3 times a week just to make sure that you have fresh content on there. You'll have people kind of seeing it and it's not just a shocker. If you just want to post on there once a month or something like that, then you're going to take everyone by surprise and you're not going to get that organic reach that you could get on your page. Now, if you're paying for ads, it's a total other story. So personal opinion is on my Facebook, I want to post, and I kind of do this with Facebook and I'll get into Instagram a little bit later, but I usually stick around the 10 o'clock a.m. and the 5:30 p.m. for Eastern time. So I'm actually in the central time zone. So I'm going to be an hour after that. So, but just keep that in mind. That's kind of my ideal posting times. And with all this, it's just testing your own page, your own region, kind of do some posts here, do some posts there, and just kind of test it, see what works. And then once you find what works, I would stick with that until you find that it is not working any longer. A platform that I want to talk about is Twitter. And Twitter is also a interesting yet confusing but very powerful platform. Now, I used to think to myself that posting 10 times a day was right around where you want to be for Twitter until I started doing some more research and some testing. So after doing some testing, I found out that there's some accounts that post up to 100 times a day. Yeah, can you imagine that? Posting 100 times a day? Yeah. Take into consideration, there's a lot of retweeting, there's a lot of different, sharing and everything else that goes on Twitter. So I think that's where a lot of these tweets are coming from, and where a lot of the actual posts are, or what they're factoring, I should say. So as a rule of thumb, I would say anywhere between once and 61 times is probably your best bet for Twitter. So again, that just goes right back to your testing, and just kind of test your market, test your time zone, see where you're getting your most engagement. I know there's some people that might work, a swing shift, a night shift, things like that. Obviously, with their group of people or with their audience that they have, maybe later in the day, early in the morning kind of a thing might be their ideal time. Other people, early risers, maybe right on your way to work or right once you get to work, something like that would be best. But like I said, just test. The next platform that I want to move to is Instagram. Now, as we all know, Instagram is owned by Facebook as well. So you see a lot of similarities between these two platforms. I wouldn't say it's necessarily what's one for good is good for the other, but I would say that between any platforms, they're probably the two most alike as far as what they get away with, or what you can get away with, or what they let you get away with. Those are kind of run hand in hand. So what I've found myself with Instagram is if you post once a day, and it's good content, you're going to have, you know, your organic reach that you need. You can pay for ads over there as well, but we're just kind of mainly talking organic reach on this video. So I myself have found that posting once a day is great. Posting 3 times a week is great. Once I get into twice a day is fine too. And I don't see much of a drop off. But once I got up to that 3 times a day, I noticed that some posts were taking away from other posts as far as the organic reach. So with Instagram, I would probably recommend once a day. If you want to do twice, if you have a lot of good content, feel free. Twice a day is good. But once I was getting up to around 3 times a day is once I kind of found that my posts were fighting with one another. So once again, test, check that out. And with my optimal times, with my audience in my market, I kind of find right around that same time. For me in Central Time Zone, it's right around 9 o'clock in the morning to between 9 and 11 and 5 and 7. Factor in your time zone. Those are probably just gauges on where to start, I would recommend. And then after that, once you're testing, you're going to probably find your optimal times. Then just stick with those. Next platform that I want to touch on is Pinterest. Now, me personally, I'm not doing a lot on Pinterest. Do I have a Pinterest account? Yes. I really haven't been testing there lately, but I didn't want to leave it out. So with Pinterest, from what I found is right around, there's some people that pin 3 times a day. There's some people that do 30. I would say optimal, I would stick right around that 3 is kind of that round number. And there's a lot going on Pinterest. Like I said, as my research gets better, I'll update these videos and find other things that are a little bit more helpful. But right now, from the research that I've done, I would say that 3 times a day is kind of what you want to be pinning, because there is so much information and people really do find Pinterest powerful, and there's a lot you can do over there. I just personally have to talk about is LinkedIn. And LinkedIn for me personally is a lot like Pinterest, but I have done a little bit more with LinkedIn in the past. Kind of what I've been doing lately and for this video is just some research to see if anything has really changed. From what I can tell, from what I've heard, not much has changed. LinkedIn is probably maybe the easiest platform because of what you're doing there and what your focus is. A lot of business people kind of doing the business thing over there, so not a lot of the videos and things like that you might see on Facebook and some of the other. Best bet would just be posting once a day. But honestly, from what I was gathering through this research that I was doing, I found that 2-3 times a week is more than enough, and you're going to find your engagement, the people you want over there. There's not quite as much going on LinkedIn at the time of me making this video that I know of, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to change by tomorrow. So make sure you do your research. But if you're kind of trying to keep up over there, just starting over there, I'd stick to maybe 2-3 posts a week, and I think you're going to be more than fine. You don't want to be putting out bad content or content that could be better over there, because there's not as much going on. So if you are posting things, then people are going to probably see it. The platform that I want to talk about is one that I'm fascinated on. I've kind of started moving over there a little bit more myself, and I will be gravitating more that way, is YouTube. YouTube is great. YouTube is not only a platform to host your videos on, to mingle with, to hang out. It's also a search engine, a second largest search engine out there, next to only Google. Well, little known fact, or mini known fact, YouTube is actually owned by Google as well. So as you see these two kind of moving on together, I don't think either one of them are going anywhere. So if you're going to focus on a platform, I do recommend YouTube. And the little bit I have been hanging out over there, I've been having a great time. So feel free to jump in there, check it out, see what you think, see if you like it as much as I do. That YouTube is, you kind of want to be consistent. You want to stick to a consistent pattern. I used to think that you had to post every day and it had to be at the same time and blah, 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 and keep on and on and on. Well, yes, that is extremely powerful if you have the time and the energy and the content to do every day at the same time. Great, do that. I have found out is as long as you're consistent over there. So if you only have time to upload a video once a month, yeah, you're not going to get as much traffic and things like that, especially organically, as you would doing every day. But if you're once a month, then stick to your once a month. If you're once a week, stick to your once a week. But as long as you're consistent over there, that is the main key. The thing about consistency that YouTube really loves is if you do post when you're going to be, I'm so-and-so, I'm Anthony Hendrickson, and I post at 2 o'clock on Thursdays. Make it known. Let people know when you're going to be over there. That way, they don't need to be sitting and watching your channel if you're only going to post, 1 video a week. They know when it's coming and they know when to expect it. They know when to be there. So not only does that help anyone that's trying to view your stuff. It helps you keep on track, and it helps YouTube know what you're doing. That being said, YouTube likes consistency, and then YouTube rewards consistency. So the more consistent you can be, the better your life is going to be on YouTube, and the more that, yeah, everything's going to get better. People are going to like what you're doing. YouTube's going to like you better. You're going to like yourself better. YouTube is more about consistency. And like I said, if you can post every day, try to keep, if you keep it around the same time, post that. Let that information be known, and YouTube's going to reward you for all. I'm going to expand on these platforms a little bit more broad, but in shorter videos, just talking about that platform. I might mix a couple in, but for the most part, we're going to just keep it simple. This platform giving you the information that you need. So once again, this is Anthony Hendrickson. If you like this information from this video, if you find it entertaining, feel free to share, subscribe to the page, hit the notification bell. That way you know when these videos are coming out. But feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions, concerns. I will personally follow up with all these, with the comments below as well. So once again, this is Anthony Hendrickson coming to you here today. Great day, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.